Live from Red Zone Weather in Bruton, Alabama, with meteorologist Spinks Megginson. A severe weather update starts right now.
Severe thunderstorms possible in the overnight hours. We now have a level 3 out of 5 enhanced severe weather risk for nearly all of us across South Alabama and Northwest Florida. Tonight is a night that you've got to have a way to get urgent weather warnings, as we may have not only tornado warnings, but severe thunderstorm warnings as well. Have a way to hear warnings overnight. Here's what we've got going on. A cluster of thunderstorms is developing to our west back over northern Louisiana and Mississippi that's going to push into our area. We could have upwards of 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts in the overnight hours into Friday morning with that. We also have thunderstorms in progress to our north near Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Centerville, Montevallo, and Alabaster. All those areas, or near those areas, involved with a severe thunderstorm warning, and that's because of the potential for damaging straight-line winds and large hail in those areas. That cluster of storms going to pass to our north, but this one back here developing near Monroe, Louisiana, near the Mississippi River, is the one that we're really going to have to watch, as this is probably going to evolve into what we call an MCS, a mesoscale convective system. That's a fancy way of saying a cluster of thunderstorms. And as it does so, it's going to cross Mississippi just like that, pushing into our area most likely after midnight. So have a way to hear warnings in the overnight hours. Level 3 out of 5 risk. This is in place from East Texas through Louisiana, Mississippi, across much of South and Central Alabama over into southern Georgia. Closer to the coast, we did have a level 2 risk earlier. Now this is a level 3 risk for all land areas. Tonight, after midnight, storms pushing in. Some of those could produce tornadoes and damaging straight-line winds, along with the chance of large hail. And then that cluster of thunderstorms arrives from the northwest. It pushes across our region probably early tomorrow morning. It's going to be loud, it's going to be proud, and it could feature widespread damaging wind gusts. And then we get a break from the storms in the morning hours after sunrise before another round of thunderstorms likely develops in the late morning hours, extending into the early afternoon hours. And so a very active weather pattern over the next 18 hours or so. Multiple clusters of rain and thunderstorms going to push from west to east and really from northwest to southeast across the local area. Please have a way to hear warnings and join us on Facebook Live if we have tornado warnings. There's the local view. Pretty much all of us except Fort Morgan and Dauphin Island down here, involved in the level 3 out of 5 enhanced severe weather risk. And don't get caught up in the number and the color that you forget that we all, even down around Fort Morgan and Dauphin Island, that are technically in this yellow zone, we all have a severe weather risk tonight. So have a way to hear warnings as we get into the overnight hours. And this is not going to be a one and done type thing. This is going to be a night where we have multiple waves of thunderstorms. It may be 1, it may be 2, it may be 3, may even be 4 before the night's over in terms of individual storms moving across your specific hometown. So a level 3 risk in place for all land areas across South Alabama and Northwest Florida. A few tornadoes possible. The tornado risk is at a level 2 risk across the area, which is a bit confusing because you may be wondering, well, why are we at a level 3 risk? Well, this is why. We have a higher risk of damaging straight-line winds across our local area back here in Mississippi as well. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center has included all of us across South Alabama and Northwest Florida in this hatched zone where we have a higher probability of seeing 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And with 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts, we could have quite a few falling trees. That means we may have power outages across our local area. Now is the time to charge those phones. Charge your iPads and tablets so you can watch us if we have warnings across our local area, and I suspect that we will. We could have a few tornado warnings. We almost certainly will have severe thunderstorm warnings in the overnight hours. And I'm also a bit concerned, growing risk of large hail. We could have golf ball size hail in some of the storms. Tonight definitely will be a night that you need to keep the cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs under the carports and the garages. So again, have a way to get warnings. Cars in the carports, mobile phones and tablets charging now before the potential for power outages overnight. So, most concerned about damaging straight line wind. This is a more significant threat for damaging straight line winds. Also concerned about the potential for a few tornadoes, large hail, power outages, and of course dangerous cloud to ground lightning. Now let's talk about the parameters, and this is something that's fairly uncommon this time of year. These instability values are, quite frankly, very, very high. This is like rocket fuel for thunderstorms to really grow and really quickly become severe. We're talking instability values in excess of 4,000 joules per kilogram. This is often the limiting factor in the winter months. Tonight, this will not be a limiting factor. If you've stepped outside, you know that we had 90-degree temperatures earlier today. The air is still quite hot. It's quite moist and it's quite juicy, ready and supportive of any thunderstorms that can fire up across our local area. In addition, we're watching that low-level jet. This may end up being the deciding factor as to who has severe storms and who doesn't. This is not at the surface. This is about 5,000 feet above your head. But where we do have these enhanced areas of wind in the atmosphere, depending on where the low-level jet kind of maximizes across our region, that's going to be a big determining factor as to if you have trees coming down and power lines and that sort of thing or not. So we'll be watching that overnight as well. Again, I'm also concerned about the large hail risk. This is going to be a deal where we could have golf ball size hail in spots across our region, specifically across inland areas. I think the overall threat with this is going to probably maximize here across inland areas of southwest Alabama. There is a chance that some spots, especially down around the beaches, may not have much action at all. There may be some rain and loud thunder at times, but there is a chance some of this remains a bit farther inland. And so level 3 risk now in place for all parts of South Alabama and Northwest Florida. If there's one good thing with all this mess of severe weather, we need the rain. And we could get upwards of 1 to 2 inches of rain, maybe even 3 inches of rain back here in areas along and west of I-65. And so good beneficial rain in the overnight hours and into Friday, and we have more rain on the way next week. In fact, severe weather yet again going to become possible early next week. Details are still a bit fuzzy, but that's something we're going to be watching as we get into next week. There is a consolation prize this weekend. Looks absolutely fantastic. If you're headed down to the beach, going to be quite nice. Temperatures down around the beach is going to be around 80 on Saturday, farther inland, upper 70s. Nice on Sunday as well, maybe a few showers late in the evening. Monday looks stormy. We could have scattered showers and storms on both Monday, Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday of the upcoming week, but we've got to get through this event tonight into tomorrow morning first. On Friday, specifically in the morning hours, severe thunderstorms possible. So that's something we're going to be watching in the hours ahead, now through basically say 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. You've got to have a way to hear urgent weather warnings. And I've been so fortunate today, I've seen 2 people on my Facebook page that are new to our local area. Thanks for commenting. This is what you need to do if you happen to go under a tornado warning or one of the destructive severe thunderstorm warnings overnight. You want to get to the middle part of your house, lowest floor, away from windows and doors, putting as many walls as you can between you and the outside world. Most important thing on this list, grab a helmet. If you don't have a helmet, grab a makeshift helmet, something to make do to protect your head like a cooking pot. I know we laugh, but that stuff works, and that can absolutely save your life. So have a way to get warnings, and more importantly, implement this plan when you do get a warning. Take a screenshot of this right now before we move on, especially if you're new to the area and you don't really have experience with tornadoes. This is what you do when we have tornadoes, not only across our area, but across the world. So, a level 3 out of 5 enhanced severe weather risk now in place for all of our local communities. Have a way to hear warnings in the overnight hours. I will have many more updates posted in the Red Zone Weather app. Hear me when I say even when we're not live, we are posting in the Red Zone Weather app and on redzoneweather.com. And so you can get information even when we're not live. I'm not going to be live up here, yapping when there's nothing going on. That's not the way it works. If you want that, you can go someplace else. But we're only going to go live when we have a dangerous situation. That's the way it's always been around here. And so please hear me when I say utilize that app, Red Zone Weather, on the iOS App Store and, of course, on Google Play as well. I'll have many more updates posted in the Red Zone Weather app in the hours ahead. I do hope you have a nice Thursday evening. Next video will be posted by 7 a.m. That is, if we don't have tornado warnings overnight. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Please stay safe.
Be sure to find us across social media, and don't forget to download the free Red Zone Weather app and set up your customized alerts. Please support our Red Zone Weather sponsors who make our coverage possible every single day.